Thank you so much, Prabhu. Really appreciate your kind um, invitation for this service. I really relish this kind of discussions, and it's really nice to see all the wonderful devotees on a Sunday morning. What better way than to start off the day with the discussion on the vital mm, part of our service, that is the chanting the holy names, the importance of the chanting. Thank you so much. It gave me some opportunity to reflect and recalibrate my own understanding and appreciation of the holy names. So thank you so much. Um, so, thanks so much for joining all wonderful and Matajis. It's really nice that we have your all your association today. And just a quick thing, we will just next 15 minutes or so, we'll just discuss about the some reflections on the holy names, because it's the lifeline of our devotional service, if you have to call it that way. It cannot be overstated. How much ever we glorify the holy names, it's not enough, right? So we'll just quickly say the Mangalacharan prayers, and then we can start off with the discussion. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamakyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Krishabhana Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachanam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Shri Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Mishwaram Namo Vishnupada Prabhupada Swami Namo Prabhupada Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namne Namaste Saraswati Gauravani Charni Vishesham Navadi Paschatya Deshatarani. So Prabhu Mataji, thank you so much again. So quickly getting to the topic, actually it's a real great fortune for us that we even discuss about we are able to appreciate the holy names, and we are discussing about the glories of the holy name. This fortune does not come even to those who have, many of those who have taken to some form of devotion. People do devotion, they do some puja, arati, etc., which is fine, but nothing is complete without the Shravanam and Kirtanam of the holy names of the Lord. Many places we see even now, many temples in India, when we go, the arati, the puja function, festival, those things are all have become part and parcel of the temple activities. Any temple, not only ISKCON temples, any temple for that matter. ISKCON temples, of course, we don't do anything without the holy name. So I'm talking about, say, many traditional temples in the South India and even in the northern part of India, old temples, and in South especially, there are a lot of temples which are way, thousands of years old, but they have a pujari, the beautiful deities are there, but you don't get much, of the holy names being chanted. But when we devotees go and chant the holy names, the local devotees there, they get so excited. Why it is so? Because the holy names, as it is naturally attracts our soul. And even if the person is not interested from any other perspective in devotional service, to the holy name they will be attracted. So that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if you see, he introduced several different, not that he introduced, he actually spread or made um, famous, if I have to say that, use that way, that in different ways of relishing the holy names. One is, of course, the Sankirtanam, where we go do Nagar Sankirtana, we do in the Kirtan format of the chanting the holy names. And the other way is to hear the glories of the holy names through the various topics in Srimad Bhagavatam and all the other related revealed scriptures. There, in every topic you take, you will see, the holy name is glorified at the end of it. And then the most vital, as well as I said, the lifeline is Japa, where we actually do the sadhana, the Japa sadhana, right? Where we do it silently or loudly, like how Haridas Thakur and various other stalwart Vaishnavas have taught us. So the important thing that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught us is that we should never try to be master of the holy names. We should always try to be a servant of the holy name. This is a beautiful thing here, because I've read in my very early days in some of the books where the glories of holy name are being revealed, like His Holiness Satsarup Maharaj's book on. He had written quite a few books, like Japa Reform Notebook, then Begging for the Nectar of the Holy Name, then Japa Work, Japa Talks, then His Holiness Sachinanda Maharaj had also written, and His Holiness Mahanidhi Maharaj had written books. Studying these books really brings us closer to the Nama Prabhu. So in those books, there are so beautifully, I got some nice revelations where the holy names, the how to develop the taste for the holy names. This is once Satsarup Maharaj has written how Prabhupada had pointed out to two specific chapters, which is, if we keep repeatedly reading them, we will naturally develop the taste for the holy names. One is the Ajamila pastime from Srimad Bhagavatam, where the holy names are, the glories of the holy name is discussed two times. One is by the Vishnudutas to the Yamadutas, when Ajamila is about to, Yamadutas were about to take Ajamila's life. At that time, Vishnudutas stop and they discuss, Vishnudutas tell about the glories of the holy names. And later, when the Yamadutas go back to Yamaraj, and when they ask them what is the so great about the holy names, Yamaraj replies in some wonderful verses. He expresses the glories of the holy name. So this is one chapter which Prabhupada insisted to keep repeatedly reading to develop taste for the holy names. And the second chapter is very interesting. It is the pastime of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu transforming the Varanasi Mayavadi sannyasis, the impersonal sannyasis, right? Headed by Prakashananda Saraswati. When they ask him why you are dancing and chanting like a madman, at that time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu so beautifully expresses the background, that is about how he got attracted to the holy names by his spiritual master's order. So there are so many lessons that come out of it. But in that, Prabhupada has written wonderful purports. I really request you, all of you devotees, to go read these two chapters again and again, especially, this glorification, and especially Prabhupada's purports. They are really, Prabhupada is his own elements when he writes about the glories of the holy names. And that is where he brings out the beautiful point that why Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was able to taste the holy name so nicely. We don't need to go anywhere beyond Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to understand how to become attracted to the holy names, isn't it? He revealed it to us, Krishna revealed it to us by his own personal example. So he tells to the sannyas, the Mayavadi sannyasis, so when they thought that, you are dancing like a madman, at that time he says, no, I am not dancing like a madman to show something, but I am actually, it automatically comes. of its own. Spontaneously it happens. I don't know. When I take to the holy names, automatically I start dancing. So for that he tells something very interesting, because he tells to the sannyasis that when my Guru Maharaj asked me to do this service and to do the chanting, he told you are he said, Guru Amar Murkha Dekhi, he said, right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu so humbly says that my Guru Maharaj saw that I'm a fool. I can't take to the Vedanta philosophy like you all. So he told me, you just get attracted to the holy name. Just start chanting the holy names. So he takes the order of the spiritual master on his head and goes and chants. But you see, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is chanting purely, especially on the order of the spiritual master, all the what do you call that as Ashtavikara, the 8 symptoms of the transcendental ecstasy, it all happens in his body, like hair standing on hand and then shivering and tears flowing from the eyes, etc. So Chaitanya Prabhu says that he thought it was something wrong is happening. This is something like a I don't know, something wrong with these names or me or what, we don't know. So he runs to his spiritual master and he tells that something is wrong happening to me, Guru Maharaj. I don't know what is it. Then spiritual master smiles so proudly, Shri Ishwarapuri, and he says, actually you are chanted properly. That is why you are getting all this. This is the actual result of the holy names. This is really amazing. At that time, the Lord says, the Prabhupada writes here that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never considered the holy name to be a material vibration. He is non-different from Krishna. When he is non-different from Krishna means, like suppose Krishna enters into to the door to our home, how much when senior Vaishnavas come, also we are so excited. We try to receive them and make them comfortable, do whatever we can to serve them. So the same way, when the holy names appear in our tongue, in our heart, and in the tongue, we have to really respect and serve the holy names. That is why we say Nama Prabhu, Shri Nama Prabhu. So when we serve the holy names means we have to serve attentively and with full focus and with love, lovingly chant. The Prabhupada will always say lovingly chant. So he doesn't consider this a material vibration. That is the first point. And the next thing is, he never wanted to be a master of the holy names. He always considered himself a servant of the holy name. This is the first important point. Now, there is a very interesting thing here about this master servant thing. We some little insight we can try to get. The thing is, when we try to be the master of someone, what we normally do, we want them to be always under our control, correct? And then what we do, we want them to listen to whatever we say. They have to listen, and they do whatever we say, they will have to do. And we don't want the servant to challenge us. You are doing wrong, you are doing this, you should do that, and they can't command us. And we want them to be available at our disposal anytime. These are some of the qualities we expect from the servant, isn't it? Anytime we want the servant to come, they should come. Anytime we tell them to go, they should go. They should not ask question why you are calling me. They should not ask question why you are sending me. And they should be ready to do anything that we ask them to do. Actually, this is how normally when we chant the holy name without say the real awe and reverence, these are all the things that we do to the holy name. In other words, we treat the holy name as our servant. We will see how holy name becomes our servant, which is not correct, but this is what normally happens. The holy name accepts our control. He doesn't protest. For example, I say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Then I see something here, somebody calls me, I break, and then I go. Then holy name stops. He waits for me to call him again, isn't it? So actually, holy name is acting as a servant when we have this inattentive chanting, or we saying, okay, morning I will not chant, I will chant in the evening. Holy name patiently waits. He doesn't he doesn't go away saying that I won't come. He patiently waits. So in the form of Sri Nama Prabhu, the Lord is even more merciful. That is why it said in many bhajans are there about glorifying the holy names. It is said, Hari se bada Hari ka naam. Sumiro naam roop bin deke. Sumiro naam roop bin deke. Kaudi na lage dam. It won't even cost anything for us. Naam ke piche band aayenge aakhir ek din sham. When you keep on chanting, one day the Lord will come here. So this is the first point, as how the Nama Prabhu is acting as a servant to us in the normal conditions. Normal means in our inattentive conditions. And then during chanting also, our mind speaks all its desires, isn't it? Our mind drags us everywhere, right? And all this noise that is coming from the mind, Nama Prabhu as a person, holy name is a person. You should treat the holy name as a person, that is Krishna. He continuously he keeps listening to all our chatters, the mind's chatters. He doesn't rebel or he doesn't shout back at us, right? And then even if we do something wrong or chant the name, pronounce the name wrongly by mistake, whatever, the name doesn't protest. The holy name doesn't protest. All our offenses, imperfections, everything he tolerates. And then any time at our disposal he is available, isn't it? Beads are there in the sense, like you always think that anytime I can take the holy name and chant. He patiently waits. So whatever condition, whatever qualities that we were talking about, how a servant behaves, that is how the Lord in the form of the holy name acts in our like normal distracted. When I say normal, it is actually not the normal. It is the it has become normal. Our distractions and inattentiveness, they all became normal because continuously we do, and when we don't try to improve the quality of our chanting. On the other hand, how we transform this or swap this master-servant relationship in the regular way, we do the chanting. The holy name acts like our servant, and we act as our master, as the master of the holy name. But in reality, we should be the servant of the holy name. That is what Mahaprabhu taught us. Then the first point we should do is making Nama Prabhu our supreme master by accepting his complete control. In other words, when I am chanting, we should develop that much taste in this chanting that we should not get diverted when some phone call comes or when some distractions come here or there or some noise comes. It should not unnecessarily interfere between us and our hearing of the holy names. So we should completely accept the Nama Prabhu's control. When he takes control of us, like how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt the ecstasy, it will come to us also. Nama Prabhu is not partial. Anybody who is sincerely trying to serve him, he will bestow his costless mercy. So this is the first point. The second way how we can become servant of the holy name is to listening to the Nama Prabhu's sweet sound vibration and the beautiful realizations he reveals to us. During chanting, suddenly some revelations will come. Krishna will suddenly, we chant in front of the deities and the deities' curtains are closed and you feel like you want to see the Lord, chanting, you think, some thought comes that, oh, I want to see the darshan of the Lord. And suddenly you will see the screen opens and you will not know how it happened. You are not telling that person to open the screen. Suddenly they open. Or when you, after the chanting, we feel that satisfaction is really in our heart. It is there that, okay, so today I could serve properly to some little to a certain extent. Let me improve tomorrow. So these thoughts come. At that time, we become the servant of the holy name. Then accepting whatever he bestows upon us as his costless mercy. Never doubt or challenge the potency of the holy names. This is a very important aspect of becoming the servant of the holy names. We should never ever doubt. Just because we are not getting the say the ecstasy and all, doesn't mean that the process is wrong. It only means that I am still what is that, work in progress material as far as the Japa Seva is concerned. And then the fourth item is that earnestly waiting for his call to take the beads early in the morning. and associate with him blissfully by chanting and hearing the Shabdarupi Bhagwan, that is Sri Nama Prabhu. This is the very important, that's the final most important point. Earnestly, how long do we earnestly wait? A real servant earnestly waits for the master to call him, isn't it? If your master, really, if your master, say spiritual master is there and the servant is there, the servant will be waiting when the Maharaj, when my Guru Maharaj will give me the service, then he will call me for the service, isn't it? So Krishna is also waiting as a servant in our heart, when he will call my name, when he will call me out, and I am ready to serve, waiting to serve him, right? That earnestly waiting for his call, for Nama Prabhu's call to take the beats in the morning. When we don't realize the subtle relationship between us and the Japmala, that we think that anytime I can take the beats and chant. This is the inattentive way of chanting. It's there, I can always chant. But we don't realize that today, if I say that, morning I have important job, let me do my chanting in the evening. What is the guarantee that I can be alive from between now and evening? What is the guarantee that I will be alive? So this is a very important thing. This is the most important tool or weapon to control the mind and direct it towards the holy names. That remember that we can die at any moment. And when we remember that last moment, immediately we take our beats and chant. That is the weapon that we will have to use every time and again against the minds, the rebellious mind, So when we say, suppose today, like there is a lot of things, the services that are lined up, some classes are there, etc., etc. Then what we should do? We should get up 2 hours early or whatever, and then finish our chanting before we start off any seva. That's why during the Mangalarti, between the Mangalarti and the Darshanarti, most of us have the time gap, and we try to finish our, complete our rounds that time, so that the rest of the day we don't have to worry about our, what we have promised to Krishna and Guru Maharaj. That this is what I will chant every day. Postponing the rounds or accumulating and doing it at a later stage is not advisable. Only very rarely those who are so fully occupied up to the top, up to the neck, they are brim, they are filled with service. They may be given exception. Prabhupada has given that. But predominantly 99.99% of us are not like that. We have our stipulated time. Even if we don't have, we can do some good planning and do it. Like say, for example, yes, like I was traveling all day yesterday, and Prabhuji had organized this time slot. Now, I reached the station by around, it reached by around 3 o'clock, 3:30 it reached. So I had to come home. It took me time till 5 o'clock. So now, in the night, I planned into such a way that, okay, let me finish. Finish means let me complete my chanting before reach the home. That time anyway I am available, so the time is available, so that I don't have to delay the chanting for later like that for the rest of the day. So like this, if we can do some little austerity, then really we will start getting the chanting, taste for the holy names. So that is how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always, he didn't decide when he should chant. He let the holy name decide when he should chant. Immediately the order of the spiritual master comes in our mind. We give the first priority. After Mangalarti, first thing you do is chanting. And when we complete our rounds, then our mind will be so free to do the rest of the this thing, So Prabhupada then, when he talks about these things, Ishwarapuri quotes a beautiful shloka from Bhagavatam to tell the importance of holy names to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Prabhupada quotes some very nice thing here. Let me just read that verse. Yes, it's Yevam Vrataswam Priyanama Kirtya. Evam vrata swapriyanama kirtya jatanurago druta chitta uchchai hasatyato roditi raudi gayati unmadavan nrityati loka bhyaha. This is from Bhagavatam 11:240. This is the verse that Ishwarapuri quoted to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When a person is actually advanced and takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord, who is very dear to him, he is agitated and loudly chants the holy name. He also laughs, cries, becomes agitated and chants just like a madman, not caring for the outsiders. Not caring for the outsiders, Hatatrapa. He doesn't care what others will think, and he cries, chants. This is all happening automatically. It is not that he is deliberately bringing it out as a show, just for show. But the thing is, Evam Vrata Swapriya Nama Kirtya. This is the most important. Evam Vrata means we take a vow to chant. You take a vow. This is at any cost. Even if the worst thing happens in my life, I will not leave the holy names. That is how Haridas Thakur became the Namacharya, right? So, and it is very, very dear. Swapriya, very dear. The holy name is very dear to the devotees, very dear to everyone. Even those who don't have faith in Krishna also will enjoy the holy names when they hear. So this is what Ishwarapuri told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that this is the proof that you are doing it the right way. So there is nothing wrong in what you are doing. So this is when he quotes this thing, Prabhupada, when he quotes this verse, in that purport, Prabhupada writes very beautiful. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita. I'm talking about the purports from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Adi Lila, I think 7th chapter. So here he says, Prabhupada says that, we should, so those who try to be pseudo bhaktas, like show off, that, all these symptoms are manifesting in my, without having the deep, this thing, the heart, attacking the heart. If one chants the holy name of the Lord just to make a show, not knowing the secret of success, he may increase his bile secretion, but he will never attain perfection in chanting the holy name. It's a beautiful line Prabhupada says. You know what is bile secretion, right? You keep on chanting, the bile may secrete, or bodily this internally, this change may happen, but not the Ashtavikar or that change. The spiritual transformations won't happen. Material transformations may happen. So Prabhupada finally closes by saying, the secret of success is to become a servant of the holy name and not a master. Krishna is attracted only by humility. Somehow or other we have to realize it. So and just closing out with this beautiful and very deep thought-provoking reflection that my Guru Maharaj told us whenever we had our difficulty in our life. He always said, increase your chanting, increase the taste in your chanting, be more sincere in your chanting. Don't say anything else. Don't do this, do that. Please chant sincerely. And I've seen many times, even from other great stalwarts like His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Krsna Maharaj, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, and many other stalwarts. It's recently His Holiness Kadam Kanand Maharaj who left us. He told in his last days how important is Srimad Bhagavat, and how important is studying Srila Prabhupada's books, how important is to chant the holy name sincerely. So this, my Guru Maharaj told us once that your Krishna consciousness is tested by how long you can sit alone in a corner of a room with your Japmala and chant, or how long you can sit alone with Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita and study. This is what is lacking many times in us, that it dilutes our Krishna consciousness, our taste for devotional service, Prabhu's Mataji's. The foundation has to be as strong as possible. Then how much ever higher you want to build the building of bhakti, it can happen. So and that foundation, chanting is the foundation of our spiritual life. I'll just share this one quote, and then I'm done with it. This is actually, I read this beautiful, very, very beautiful, thought-provoking realization from this book, Begging for the Nectar of the Holy Name by His Holiness Sasarup Maharaj. He writes something very interesting, because all of us are engaged in preaching, doing seva, so many things. So how chanting is the foundation of each and every one of these aspects of devotional service. He writes very beautifully. Please listen carefully. I will read slowly and patiently. Since so much of our energy is dedicated to helping others. We have to do regular internal work through Japa. Internal work through Japa. The what you call rectification of our faults and sartas and so on. Otherwise, always helping others, always preaching, so many bad habits can develop. Without the foundation, if you just go on doing this seva, bad habits can develop. What are those bad habits? We may begin to think ourselves better than those we help. Very dangerous bad habit. We start thinking that, oh, I have become a preacher now, others have to listen to me. So we don't listen to others. That capacity goes down, and we start thinking that we are better than others. So we may begin to think ourselves better than those we help. Then next thing is, we may become passionate do-gooders and lose our inner focus. We'll become like social service kind of. We will just start doing service, and the inner focus of all these things we are doing it for Krishna's pleasure. That feeling will be gone. Then the third thing is, we may also fall victim to superficiality because we have to repeat ourselves so many times. See, this is a very, very critical point to note, important point to note, because we keep on preaching, but when the taste for the holy names is not there, then it will become a stereotype thing. We'll just be like a tape recorder. We'll repeat many things from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. Here, we hear from this devotee and share that, hear from that devotee and share, but internal reflection, introspection, if it is not there, it won't work. And that happens by our constant cleansing of our heart by the lovingly chanting the holy names. So he is saying this important point here. So repeating ourselves so many times, that's it's superficiality. This is a real danger for lecturers. They speak profound and sensitive truths so often that they can lose touch with what they are saying, or they emote and speak rhetoric. This is a beautiful point. We try to attract people. Our focus shifts from attracting or pleasing Krishna to pleasing the hearers, which is what Vyasadeva did and became despondent, right? So this is, we emote and speak rhetoric. We try to tell some stories. We try to say this thing, and we are really emotional, or we share all different ways of some jokes and this and that. We make it as an entertainment process instead of enlightenment process, isn't it? So these are all the dangers that come out of not keeping our foundation strong. So he's closing it. It is hard to constantly go to the heart in our preaching. Constantly we have to go to the heart, because when we are talking to someone, we have to be compassionate to them. And that compassion can come only when our heart becomes soft. And the heart can become soft only when we take the taste for the holy names. And see, Krishna is not different from the holy name, somehow are attached to it. Right? So Maharaj closes it beautifully with this line. Therefore, a preacher's only recourse is to be himself in touch with the holy names. You have to constantly be in touch with the holy names. Not that, oh, I have done my 16 rounds and finished. No, in between some gap also we should chant the holy names. Or you, as we said, you take these chapters like the discussion between Ishwara Puri and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the Yamdutas and Yamaraj. These discussions will enhance our awe and reverence for the holy names, and somehow or other we will please the spiritual master by that process. There is no better way than to please the spiritual master and Krishna, other than the getting the taste for this particular seva, that is chanting the holy name. Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu, for this part.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Thank you. It was very, very enlightening. You touched upon so deep and so important points. Very, very thankful, touching upon important chapters which can help us, for better understanding. And that, relationship of master servant was again another point which is so deep. And then ending with highlighting, the key foundational principles. You rightly said that we, most of the time we get carried away from, external services and all that, while not spending similar amount of effort on ourselves. So thanks for reminding that. Thank you.
It's a good reflection for me too, Prabhu. Thank you for that.
Oh, thank you very much. I just want to open the floor if anyone has any comment or question for Prabhuji. You can drop the question on chat or raise your hand or unmute yourselves.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
First of all, I want to thank you, Prabhuji, for your service in the form of Granthas. Actually, when I started reading, this Granthas helped me a lot.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhu.
So, thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu, sometimes I do not get time as I work in shift duties, Prabhu. So I do some chanting when I get time in my office on the mobile. I have downloaded one Japa count. So should I count that rounds in my 16th round or not?
No, when you say sometime means what is the time that you do, Prabhu? Is it like when you are working, you are chanting without the beats, or is it like you are in between some saiva, you get the break and you chant on the beats?
When I not completed my rounds at my home on beats, Prabhuji, and I have to go to office, I want to complete my round on my mobile when I get break in my office.
So without the beats, you are chanting
Without
with the
beats,
help of
yes,
the Japa
without
count in the mobile.
beats.
Prabhu, I mean, for beginners, it's okay, Prabhu. But honestly speaking, as we, as we go longer in devotional service, the chanting in the beats has to be somehow or other regulated, Prabhu. There are some countries where there is restriction for carrying the beads, etc. There, that counter of those things they use, that Japa counter, we have that in the hand, we have that clicker or in the counter they have. But that is only when in abnormal situations, Prabhu. But we should not make exception as a normal. If exception becomes a normal thing, then everything goes for a toss. So always, Prabhu, evam vrata swapriya nama kirtya. That is the verse that in that word, entire verse, that crying, laughing and all is not the main thing. That vrata word is the main thing. Vow, when we take the vow to chant the holy names, Haridas Thakura was chanting in the beats. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting in the beats. Apart from that, beyond their the stipulated rounds, they were always chanting, right? Wherever they were going, they were chanting. So it's ideally you carry the beats with you, Prabhu. Wherever you have 5 to 7 minutes gap, you just chant one round and just add it to your 16 round. If it is so, the duty is like that, shifting where you cannot avoid, anytime things may come, etc. But the thing about time, no, Prabhu, managing the time, no, we don't have to worry too much about it. Only when we sincerely express our desire to Krishna, Krishna will give us the time, because Krishna and time are not different. Krishna gives himself to us when we express our sincere desire to him, isn't it? So he will always give us the time, Prabhu. Like I said, I could have always decided to chant later in the day, today, for example, when I was traveling. But I knew that, later in the day means the quality of my rounds will come down and I will just do just for the sake of it, whatever it may be. So I made a decision to sacrifice my sleep and then do the chanting, so that, see, and another important thing is that if I don't complete my stipulated rounds, the rounds that I promised, and I come and give a class on Japa, that will be the height of hypocrisy, isn't it? So that is why I said, okay, I can sacrifice my sleep, but I don't want to be a hypocrite here. At least if I am still, but at least in this particular aspect, I should not do that. So sometimes when you do that, no, Prabhu, Krishna gives us the energy. Do I look like someone who has not slept all night? No, right? So this is when Krishna gives the energy, it happens that, somehow or other we become so rejuvenated. The holy name rejuvenates. It transforms let's say the tiredness will go away and everything will go away. So just that little bit of that eagerness and earnestness, as I said, no, when we are really earnestly, when will the time come for me to take the beads in my hand and chant? that morning time, that's when really we'll get up for Mangalarti, or we'll do the chanting. And there are some vow means austerities, Prabhu, and we have to somehow or other bring in more and more austerity. That this body, we should not keep on pampering this body like all our exalted Vaishnavas did. The more they grow older, the more they were increasing their austerities. That's when the body will listen to us. Otherwise, you keep on giving more and more, what do you call that as, the soft, this thing, cushion to the body. Okay, it's okay, you do this, it's okay, you can rest and all that. It will become more and more lazy, and mind and body will team up and cheat us. So this beads thing, Prabhu, try to do it as much as you can possible. Try to count only those rounds that you chant in the beads into your say 16 rounds. Apart from that, you chant in counter or whatever. Because I heard this from his Holiness Radhanath Maharaj long back when we had a short discussion as a small group. We had a discussion with Maharaj. At that time, one of the devotees asked this question to Maharaj. Maharaj, I am not able to chant my rounds. So can I, but I chant while driving the car. Because in the US, we drive long drives, no? So you have 4-5 hours smooth ride you have, not without much distraction, like traffic and other things on the highway. So he said, Maharaj, can I include those rounds in my 16 rounds? Maharaj immediately said, no, you chant your 16 rounds when you are in one place and attentively do that chanting. Apart from that, you chant while driving also, because that is important. You have to keep chanting while driving also. But don't include that in your 16 rounds. So I hope that helps, Prabhu. When we take the Vrata, automatically Krishna gives us the time, Prabhu. You will be surprised that you will have so much time when we show that design. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for your guidance.
Thank you. Next, we have Ashray Mukund Prabhuji.
Yes,
Ashray Mukund Prabhu, you can unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Pranam, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving the wonderful pointers related to the Naam Seva, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you're touching one important pointer in Japa. The focus, right? Our focus should be right, else you were saying that instead of a spiritual progress,
Prabhuji, by mistake, I think so you have muted yourself. So you can unmute yourself. Ashray Mukund Prabhu. Yeah, Ashray Mukund Prabhu, now you have unmuted yourself. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, yes.
Prabhuji, I hope you got my question, Prabhuji.
No, Prabhu, it was after it was muted. Can you repeat it? You said about the process, and then
Yes, Prabhuji, you were touching on one of the pointer where you're saying instead of a spiritual progress, you will get something in the material itself, and but you will not actually get the spiritual progress due to that seva. So, Prabhuji, if you can tell a little more in detail, what exactly does that mean?
No, this is the line that Prabhupada says, that if we try to show off my taste for the holy names in that sense, he said that he says that he may increase his bile secretion, but never attain perfection in chanting the holy name. Perfection is nothing but considering ourselves as the servant of the holy name. Any time the holy name calls us, we have to take the beats and chant. In other words, we should offer ourselves like Ashrishyava Padaratam Pinashtumam, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, no? Like that, whenever, whatever you want to do with me, whenever you call me, I will start chanting. So that to that extent, we should be surrendered to the holy names. That is what I was trying to mention.
Okay, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, when you say...
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, go ahead, Prabhuji.
Sorry, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, when you say when Naam Prabhu calls us, so what should be understood from that point, Prabhu?
No, like you will be really tired. So suppose you are really tired from previous night something, and then you have to you will be like feeling like resting. But actually, Nama Prabhu is calling us. Come on, it's time. Let's go. Let's get each other's association. So Namaprabhu is eager for our association, but that same eagerness, if we show to Namaprabhu, then that previous day's tiredness will not stop us from chanting. You see, get up and do the chanting.
Yes, Prabhu.
Right. So that is what I was trying to say. Like, in other words, it will be our topmost priority. Nothing else will become our priority at that time. At least that period, that Brahma Muhurta time period, it will be the topmost priority. If not all 16 rounds, at least some rounds if we can do during that time period between say 5 to 7 or around that time, 5 to 7, 7:30, whatever, according to our day-to-day activities, it may vary for each one of us. But as much as possible, try to keep some at least in that time, because if you don't do anything at all during that time, you will not understand the difference between the quality of the rounds you are doing during Brahma Muhurta and during, say, late in the night, sometimes you are mumbling. Those are all courtesy rounds. So the difference between these two, we will never get to know if you always do the rounds much later in the day. So at least keep some for that time, So that's why I was
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. But one last question from my side, Prabhuji.
yes.
So, yes, obviously, Prabhuji, in Brahma Muhurat, when we chant, the quality is different comparatively. And Prabhuji, when you say the calling, the Nam Prabhu is calling like that, if we get that uh, sometime between the day working, but you don't have time, or you're not in the situation, right? Um, you can actually serve the holy name. So how should we handle it, or should we do it later, something like that?
No, don't make it as a rule, a normal thing. It can be an exception. Not that every single day we don't have time at all. Prabhu, I will tell you one interesting thing that my Guru Maharaj said in one of the lectures in Manor, London. Maharaj was giving class, and of course, all the devotees, senior Vaishnavas, everybody was sitting. And in the middle of the class, Maharaj threw a bombshell. He said, given a chance, all of us can chant 25 rounds minimum every day. You could see everybody's mouth agape, and they were like in disbelief what Maharaj said. He said, Maharaj is become mad. He's just saying this because we are not able to chant our 16 rounds. And he is telling you have 25 rounds you can do every day if you have the heart. So at the end of the class, obviously devotees started raising hands, and Maharaj, how can you say that we can chant 25 rounds minimum? Then Maharaj calmed them down and said something. See, if you keep it a rule that your 16 rounds, you will do it at one go, one full stretch, like say you give a class, you don't take a break and go. You are sitting in full class you are giving. You don't, even if you have something, you tolerate it. Or you say you do arati, you don't finish after do the ghee lamp, you don't go attend the phone call, come back and do the pushpa. It is a one simple offering. Same way, chanting one round is a full offering. If you can extend it to chanting 16 rounds is a full offering. That's how Bhaktivinoda Thakur used to do. For him, that's how they were doing 64 rounds. Because for them, it's not like halfway, put a clipper and then come back and count from, start from where you left. No, that was not the rounds. You see? So this, so Maharaj said that this 25 rounds, how I said it, if you keep the rule that by 16 rounds I will do it as together, I know it will be difficult to hear also, we will be in disbelief to hear, but if we take it, make an attempt, we can do. I will tell you how slowly I am trying to practice it also after this. So Maharaj said, okay, if you do your 16 rounds at one go, then you can do 2 rounds instead of when you are after the Bhagavatam class, you do a few minutes of socializing here and there. You do 1 round here, there, and then you stand in the prasadam queue to talk some chit chat during that time. Anyway, it takes 10 minutes to 10-15 minutes to reach the, or even more. At that time, you chant 2 rounds, or you walk to the bus stop. You instead of taking a lift or something, you walk to the bus stop, 10-15 minutes, 20 minutes, metro, wherever, do 2 more rounds there. Like this, the remaining 9 rounds, if you keep it for the gap, fill the gaps with those 9 rounds, then you can do 25 rounds. In other words, 16 rounds you are giving priority and doing it at one go. The remaining things will fill there, so that these 16 rounds will not be used for those filling the gaps. Somehow or other do 2 rounds here, 2 rounds there, 2 rounds there. that is really, if even if you are hearing, somebody is just busy with something, talking to somebody, and coming, oh yes, Prabhuji, what did you say? Can you repeat? You will feel annoyed. So that's how when we are calling out Krishna's names, actually Krishna is listening to us. That's a conversation between us and Krishna. We can't stop the conversation, do something else, and Krishna is waiting and waiting to hear us, right? So, like some years, for last 5-6 years, I am humbly trying to follow this process, which is really, at the end of the day, Prabhu, we have to control the mind. The moment we control the mind, it will be much easier to do the chanting. So mind will give all kinds of useless arguments. Useless arguments. They are not arguments at all, but it will give useless arguments. Like say, for example, if you have to sit in one place and chant a few rounds, it will say, no, your legs will be paining. What if you feel hungry? What if you feel thirsty? There are other more important things to do. So the mind will keep on wandering. So what I told this mind that, okay, you want to wander, you wander wherever you want to. But as far as I am concerned, I will sit in this place and chant. I will not get up for these few rounds. Start off with 2 rounds or 4 rounds. So the mind says, oh, you mean to say I can wander around? Yes, you go wander around wherever you want. Because as it is, you are wandering anyway. Right? You give the freedom. With the approval, it is going for a vacation, right? So it will go around. You can do this test. All of you here, you can do this test and try out. It will really be a very interesting this thing between us and mind. Some struggle between us and mind. What the mind will do is, you say that, I will just sit and do today chanting. The mind will go wandering everywhere, but you invariably it will come back and tell you that, oh, you are still sitting. Come on, it's time. Your legs are paining. Your neck will be paining. Back will be paining. Come on, we have to go out for a walk. That walk, when we go, normally, what happens is that is like actually like shopping walk, Japa, that is. We look here, we look there, and our mind will be like wandering everywhere. So that is why it is asking us to get up and walk. Mind is dictating us. So we tell the mind that, okay, see, I told you, you go wherever you want, but this body will not come with you. The mind cannot enjoy on its own without the body. That is the secret. It wants, like say, body in the sense, the senses. So if it wants something to enjoy, it needs the eyes to look at something very pleasing. It needs the ears to hear something very mundane, isn't it? So you stop the senses from cooperating with the mind. Mind, you go wherever you want. My senses will be here. You understand what I'm saying? So what happens after 1-2 rounds, it will come back and fight with you. Come on, you are feeling painful. You are so merciless. You have to get up. So then you tell one simple rule to the mind. Yes, I will get up now, but I will start from number 1 again. Is that okay? Mind will really feel frustrated from the first round. You do this exercise and see. Like I 4 rounds here I have done. Mind will say, no, it's this 5th round. But you say, no, you get up. Wherever you want, you go. But I will start again from number 1. Mind will become submissive, Prabhu. It will really say, oh my God, just finish up this and get me out of this. This demon mind doesn't control like that. I mean, but I did like this, Prabhu, because I have chronic pain due to this whatever back pain, neck pain, and all that. So I was thinking that I can never be able to sit and chant. But I said, okay, let's start with 2 rounds to begin with. For a few days, you do sit and do 2 rounds thing. Leg will be paining like anything after something. That leg pain is coming because mind is telling you leg is paining. Then when you tell the mind that, okay, agree, as per agreement, I can get up, but are you willing to start from number 1 again? So this exercise I did slowly. I kept on increasing the number of rounds. And by Krishna's mercy, I do sit in one go and I do all my 16 rounds and then only get up. In between, if there is any break or anything I do, I start from number 1 again. Then mind automatically becomes composed and submissive. Try this out.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for sharing your own, journey through the chanting. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, right. I think some somebody was asking, can you recap the 4 points you mentioned?
Yeah, the last 4 points. I requested Mataji if she can hear the recording.
Yeah, that would be better also. Prabhu,
Yeah. So I
because
requested
you're-
her. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will post the recording on the group so
Sure.
she can hear that.
That's nice, Prabhu. Very good, Prabhu.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you,
Prabhuji. Really, from the depth of my heart, I'm thanking you, and it will really help us. And we request everyone to hear the recording again and go through those important chapters from Bhagavatam and Chetan Charitamrita, which will further help you. So thanks all of you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much, Prabhu. Thank you so much,
Thank
Igor Prabhu. Really appreciate. I'm indebted to you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Jai
Hare
Shri Rama
Krishna.
Prabhu ki jai. Srila
Jai.
Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Krishna.
Hare
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.